Welcome to this too. My name is Timothy and I'm your host. And to welcome you back, it's a bit of a different episode today. So before I get into it, because it's a pretty heavy topic, and I just want to start off with a disclaimer at the start. Some of what you hear might be disturbing, might be hurtful to hear, might be triggering. So please be aware. But again, this is my experience, this is my actions and what has happened to me and how I've responded. And I can only say that I haven't always responded to everything in the best way. Because this is not a situation that I am in any way, shape or form comfortable with or familiar with. I'm figuring this out as I go along, and that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to build this platform so that you don't have to. So let me just say before we start that in no way, shape or form am I a mental health practitioner. I am not qualified in any way to give or provide a diagnosis. What I'm speaking about is my lived experience and how I have felt and dealt with it. So without further ado, let me get into today, because this is quite emotional and it's going to take a lot of emotional strain and toll on me to talk through this, because it's very raw. But this is probably one of the most important things I need to do for myself right now. So I have been in a really deep hole again, battling depression. Things have happened on my side. I lost my job, and that was my one hope for building a new life. And so now I have to figure things out again. And it's not easy to face the world when you don't have money. It's not easy to hold your head up high when you don't have a lot to make you feel that way. Having a job gives you a sense of purpose, gives you a sense of pride. And as a man and as a father, that's immeasurable to me. And to have lost that just robs me of so much. But I can start again. It just took a while to kind of see that. I have really struggled to get over what happened, and from my perspective, what was done to me over the last few years. And as I've spoken about, I have survived abuse, and I survived suicide attempts. I've survived depression. But the thing that I struggled the most with is the discard from my partner, because I built my world around that person. And I know some people might look at me and think I was foolish or silly to ever do that. My honest intention and belief was that this was someone I was going to grow old with and, live my life with, build a family. To have the wool so drastically and sharply pulled away from my eyes, I wasn't prepared for that. And so it hit me hard, and it took me down. It took me to my lowest points. And I did what I thought I needed to do for myself and for my family. And I've tried to rebuild myself. And, obviously I thought I was doing okay, and I thought I was in a much better place. And I know that there were going to be moments. I knew I was prepared for the fact that this wasn't going to be an easy walk, an easy path out of the darkness and into sunlight again. And obviously, that having to go through some really dark moments and losing that sense of self and losing that sense of pride in terms of having money and having an income and having something to look forward to every day and having a purpose hit me harder than what I had expected. And last week, I tried to take my life probably 3 or 4 times. And I'm dealing with the physical and the emotional scars of that. And I never felt as alone, did not feel as alone ever. Not through the discard, not through, surviving that. And then having my father pass away before Christmas in what was the worst year of my life, which seems to be carrying over into 2026. I never felt as alone and as hopeless as I did last week. And I gave up hope. I gave up hope on myself. And that's the worst thing I could have done. I'm not going to go into the physical details of what I did, but I think I have to speak and I have to say these things out loud, because I need to acknowledge and I need to own what I've done in order for me to try and change the path. You can't move forward without accepting where you've come from. And life sometimes is relentless. And at the moment I feel like I've been beaten down and life has its foot on my neck. Yeah, there was also a lot of other frustration. I've spoken about secondary trauma in one of my episodes, about how people don't show up for you. People don't even want to believe you. They don't even want to hear the truth about what happened, because they're fixated and they've hitched their wagon to the lie and the liar. And I'll use those terms because I know what the truth is. And people who aren't interested in the truth, people who were never interested in hearing your side of the story, were never ever going to be convinced by the facts. No matter how loud you shouted, no matter how many times you post, no matter how many times you screenshot, no matter how many times you stand up and say, this is what happened, this is what was done to me. They've decided what the narrative is. The people who truly care, the people who have your interests at heart are the ones that are going to listen and the ones that are going to show up. So for that and for those people, I am grateful. And I must say, in that time, like having BPD or being diagnosed with BPD, there's a lot of misconceptions about BPD and a lot of people get misdiagnosed. And I'm trying to traverse that and figure out if I'm actually someone who has borderline or if I've just been misdiagnosed. But that's part of the process. That's part of getting to a certain place. You know, as part of that, I've also got to be honest with myself. I haven't helped myself. I've dug deeper holes. And one of the things is abandonment. You fear abandonment as someone with borderline. And yeah, I can certainly see that in myself, especially after the discard. I know how I fell apart. Maybe that was because I couldn't come to terms with losing the life that I had built in my head, the future with that person. I mean, these things still hurt for me because I love that person so much and fully that I was so blind to certain things. And I had told myself I loved them. I don't know if love means that you are foolish. I don't know. I don't know if that's love or if that's you seeking something more that's lacking within yourself. Nonetheless, you know, that's still something I have to deal with. And coming to terms with all of those things is not easy. Walking this path alone is not easy. But I have a daughter who looks up to me and who sees me. Sometimes I don't feel like I deserve her because I am struggling so much. I am really struggling. And it's not easy trying to pick yourself up time and time again on your own, having to be your own source of strength. What do you do when you just want to give up in those moments? When you feel like you have no one to lean on, what do you do? Who do you turn to? And so it's been a couple of days for me, and physically I'm in pain. Mentally and emotionally I'm in pain. But as I sit here, I no longer feel destitute. I no longer feel deflated and devalued and that things won't change. I am at a point where I am resigned to the fact that things are going to be difficult and there's a long, hard journey ahead. But by no means am I going to cut that story short because I can't deal with the pain or because I feel the pain's too much for me to see or feel anything else. Because that's what it feels like at times, or felt like, drowning in that pain and grief and sorrow and self-pity. It hurts so much that you want to feel something else, or you just want relief from it at any cost. And I was also my own worst enemy because I kept saying to myself in some way, shape or form that I can't do this anymore. And that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I wanted to die last week. I wanted to kill myself. I'm not condoning, I'm not trying to ask for acceptance. I'm not trying to explain it away. It's what I did in moments of absolute grief and absolute desperation and sorrow. You can't... I saw this quote from Mike Tyson. He's one of my favorite people in the world. I absolutely loved him as a fighter. But what I see from him as a man, having overcome so many of his own demons and struggles, losing a daughter, I don't know how you, as a father, would have been able to survive if I had to lose my daughter. I don't know that I'd be able to make it through that. And he lost a child. And he spoke about life. He said things like, one of the quotes he said is like, you know, hitting rock bottom is beautiful because you can work. He said also one of the things that he said that always sticks with me is life is beautiful, but life is going to test you. And it's the good and the bad of life that makes it beautiful. But without the test, there is no testimony. And that's something that has resonated with me and I try and keep with me. Most importantly, I think, in terms of changing how I feel and working my way out of this depression and the suicidal ideation and the attempts is my mind, my mindset, my mentality. How I see myself, how I talk to myself, and how I treat myself. So I started consistently following a program that using resource material from people who are accomplished and experts in their fields. I'm using their information and resources, and I'm trying to, on a daily basis, rebuild my confidence and my sense of self little by little. Exercise plays a part in that. Being outside, So I'm slowly trying to get back to the person and the man that I want to be. And I choose to be. And who I believe I am. And I'm only a few days into working it, but I can feel the difference already. And I'm not saying that it's a success because there are many trials and tribulations still up ahead. By no means am I out of the woods. But I also know and I can also recognize that better days will come. Better days will come. But you've got to be around to see those days. You can't give up. So I've started to change the way I think and speak about myself, and It's very much a work in progress, and it's very much in its infancy. But I'm trying to change from this happened to me to I survived that. And I think that's key in terms of how you phase it and how you look at yourself. And so I hope with time that I'll be able to be kinder to myself in the future and not spiral down so hard and absolutely tear myself apart for moments when I am weak. With that being said, I have to acknowledge that I'm on a journey. And if I keep doing the work, then the work will keep doing something for me. I want to find a greater purpose and a greater sense of self for myself. And that's one of the reasons why I'm on this platform, trying to create something that I can be proud of, that can possibly help someone else. Because there were people that, and are people, that have shown up for me. What good would it do? What was the point of their support and effort and love and kindness in me if I throw it away? So I'm trying to pay it forward now. And why I say this now is because I'm trying to, as I think I said last week, I'm trying to develop an app and a platform where we can build a community. And once I've completed it, I will launch it and advertise it. And hopefully we can, if there are people that join it and sign up for it, there'd be a community where we can reach out and just be there for one another. So if you're having a weak moment, if you're having a low moment, you don't have to face it alone. Even a little kindness pierces the darkness. Even a little love is a lot, especially in a world where you feel alone. So I want to say thank you sincerely to the people that were genuinely there for me and cared enough to reach out and care enough to check up on me. I would be betraying your effort and your support if I gave up. And if for no other reason, for now, I can endure because at least I know that there are people that care about me. That does matter. It's not always easy to accept and to recognize and see in yourself, but it matters. It matters a whole lot. Take it from me. So I'm going to end there. I hope that you can learn from some of the things that I've said and from the mistakes that I've made. Don't believe your inner critic when you feel absolutely low, because that voice, that critical voice that's saying that you're worthless, that you're not worth anything. It's probably all the negative voices that you've heard in your life, all the negative things you've experienced and felt and all the slights. But it's your mind that is replaying it. It is your voice that is saying it. And that makes it so much more damaging and hurtful when you do it to yourself. So if you have those moments when you feel like you can't, you absolutely need to reach out. And you absolutely need to call for help. And sometimes help isn't always what you need, but it's a step. It's a rung on a ladder. It's not the destination. It's that first step on the path. So I would certainly say and advise, if you need help, go to sadag.org, sadag.org. There's a suicide crisis helpline. There's a mental health line, 0800 456 789. There's a WhatsApp support line as well, 076 882 2775. You can also SMS them on 31393. I was fortunate enough that the person that heads up our borderline personality group that I joined through SADAG checked up on me and made sure that someone from SADAG contacted me and checked up on me and gave me options, because I couldn't do that for myself in that moment. So I want to thank her and anyone who's extended even the slightest kindness to me in this past year. You have no idea how much that means to someone like me, someone in a situation like me. And as much as it is oxygen, I need to also see that I need to be able to do these things for myself. And that's why changing the way I speak to myself is so important. Changing the way I think about myself is of massive importance. And that's why I'm trying to do these steps in this program on a daily basis, so that I don't fall back into that pattern and end up doing something incredibly stupid to myself. I know this was a bit of a meandering one, but I hope that if you're going through something, just know that there are avenues for support. It's not always going to be easy to access that support. It's not always going to be easy to find the strength and the resource within yourself to go on the next day. And it's an incredibly bad cliche, but it's one day at a time, one moment at a time. And before you know it, this too shall pass. So I think that's a nice way to tie it up. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, Give it a 5-star rating on whatever platform. It just helps me build this platform and try and do some good in this world. Share with anyone you feel that can benefit. Thank you so much for listening. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today. I wish you well over the Easter weekend. I hope you had good moments. And yeah, till the next episode. Thank you for listening. Again, no matter what you are dealing with in this world, in this life, this too shall pass. Thank you so much. Take care.